Hey, welcome back to my face. I'm Brianna, head honcho over at Bambi Media. If you're here, I'm guessing you're either launching a podcast or trying to make the one you already have actually sound professional. In this little walkthrough, I'm going to show you my usual finish line routine. We'll cover how I export the episode, grab the transcript and subtitles, check the file, and get everything ready to upload. I'll also share a few tools that make life way easier. And yeah, I'll bring up Vizard because it's become a go-to for turning long-form recordings into short, social-ready clips. But first, we need to cover the basics. So let's pretend we just finished editing our episode. Everything sounds good, the edits are clean, and the music fades are working perfectly. Now it's time to hit publish or export in whatever editing application you're currently using. If you're working in something like Descript, you will immediately see the obvious MP3 export option. I like to pick MP3 for most podcast hosts because it's universal and small enough to upload without any kind of fight. I pop in a show title if I want the file to be obvious when browsing folders. For me, that's usually something like Podcast Pro or whatever the series name happens to be. But you don't need to overload the file with metadata because the podcast host will handle most of the episode level stuff like show notes and artwork later on. Now let's talk about bitrate and quality settings for spoken word audio. 128 kbps MP3 is totally fine for standard podcasts. This setting keeps the file size manageable and still sounds great for just talking. If you want higher fidelity or you have a lot of music involved, you can definitely go up to 192 or 256 kbps. But seriously, do not panic about needing to be absolutely perfect with these initial export settings. Hit export and make sure you put that final file somewhere logical on your computer. I personally make a dedicated folder per episode, like episode 1, followed by an edits subfolder. I drop the final MP3 right into there so I always know exactly which version is the one that officially goes out to the world. While you are saving that MP3 file, please do not skip exporting the transcript and the subtitle files. You are definitely going to thank me for doing this later down the line. Most hosts will happily accept a plain DOCX transcript or an SRT subtitle file, which means you are fully covered wherever you decide to publish your show. So now you need to go grab that transcript directly from your editor. If you are using Descript, click the transcript export button and make sure you include speaker labels and timecodes. Set the paragraph breaks exactly how you like them, as I usually pick a comfortable line length so the resulting transcript reads really well. Once that looks good, export it as a DOCX document. Then you must go back and export the subtitle file specifically as an SRT format too. Some podcast platforms will import transcripts directly as a DOCX, while others specifically want SRT for closed captions or chaptering features. Plus, if you ever decide to repurpose little snippets for social video, those SRTs come in extremely handy for auto-captioning things on social media. Just a quick heads up, the transcript you get right now is probably the AI-generated base plus whatever tiny corrections you made while you were editing. That initial version is usually more than enough for most general purposes you have. If you want a super clean published transcript, like fully styled copy for your website with timestamps and active links, you can definitely go back and polish it later. But be warned, that polishing step is a serious time investment that you need to account for. You need to decide whether you actually require that level of polish based on where your final transcript will live and who exactly will be reading it. Now it is time to open up that folder and actually listen to the exported MP3 file one time through. I always check the opening transition first to make sure the initial experience is smooth. Is the music intro too loud compared to my speaking voice? And do the crossfades between segments feel natural? Then I scrub toward the middle and the very end to ensure the whole episode sounds cohesive, not just those select bits I obsessed over during editing. Little things like a sudden, unexpected music spike or a harsh audio cut are much easier to fix before you upload than they are to deal with after your listeners complain. If the entire thing passes this essential ear test, you can finally breathe a deep sigh of relief because your audio production is officially done. Okay, now we move on to the part that genuinely trips up a lot of creators every single time, the actual publishing step. Some editors and platforms offer a convenient one-click publish to host option right inside the app. That sounds absolutely fantastic in theory, and that option does exist in tools like Descript, but in reality, I rarely use it for my primary episode uploads. The reason is because you almost always have to jump into your podcast host anyway to add show notes, tweak specific metadata, upload artwork, or paste in that nicely formatted transcript. Integrations can be surprisingly finicky, and sometimes they try to connect through APIs and miss crucial fields, forcing you to troubleshoot. So you end up spending just as much time fixing the automated push as you would have by just uploading manually in the first place. My personal general rule of thumb is to export a clean MP3, export the transcript in SRT, and then upload everything directly to your host through its dedicated interface. It's simply a much more reliable workflow, and it gives you complete final control over the listing. Now, let's talk about a workflow upgrade that has seriously helped me repurpose episodes without needing extra brain cells to manage it all. If you are creating any kind of long-form audio or video, like a solid 40 to 60-minute interview, you absolutely want multiple bite-sized clips for all your social channels. Manually clipping those engaging sound bites takes an incredibly long amount of time. Vizard's AI is designed to find those high engagement moments automatically and instantly spits out ready-to-post clips for you. So instead of manually skimming the entire episode to guess what content will actually perform well, Vizard surfaces the likely viral moments for you. Honestly, this specific feature has been an absolute game changer for me when it comes to scaling up content output consistently. Here is precisely how I fold Vizard into my standard podcast publishing flow every single week. After I export the final MP3, and if I have the recording video, I export that too, I feed the long file directly into Vizard. The tool then analyzes the entire stream and expertly pulls the highlights, like emotional reactions, punchy sound bites, and those concise, quotable moments, to generate short clips. The AI automatically edits them with simple jump cuts, adds necessary captions, and handles the cropping optimized perfectly per platform. You can always go in and tweak the clips quickly, but many times the auto edits are already solid right out of the box. That simple automation step saves me hours compared to sitting there, clipping everything manually every time. Vizard also comes equipped with auto-schedule features, which is an incredibly clutch benefit for busy creators. You simply tell it your posting cadence and preferred platforms, and it cues all the clips to publish automatically without you lifting a finger. This means no more opening Instagram, hunting for the right clip, pasting captions, resizing the video, and then scheduling it all out individually. Vizard streamlines that entire tedious process down to just a few setup clicks on your end. Then there is the content calendar view, where you can see the coming weeks at a glance, reorder what goes out, and edit captions or thumbnails without hopping between 5 different applications. For any small team or a solo creator trying to keep up, that centralization of planning is a massive productivity win. To be perfectly fair, other tools do manage to do parts of this specific workflow very well. Descript is absolutely brilliant for transcript first editing and those clean text-based edits where you literally delete words from the transcript and it trims the audio video perfectly. It is fantastic for getting those initial draft edits done and for getting a quick transcript out the door fast. But Descript is not primarily built to batch create social clips and then automatically schedule them across all platforms. That is where Vizard really shines brightly. Some other platforms that focus only on social clipping can be quite pricey, or they expect you to do most of the curatorial work manually, which is fine if you have an editor on your payroll. Vizard tends to find a really nice balance between affordability and automation for independent creators who simply want to publish more without hiring an entire team. I have a couple of crucial practical notes to keep in mind as you implement this system. Always keep your original project folder completely intact. Raw files, edits, final MP3, DOCX transcript, SRTs, and any exported video. It's vital. Label everything clearly so you, or anyone else on your team, can find those episode assets super fast when needed. If you are ever outsourcing those social clips to a virtual assistant or an agency, hand them the Vizard exports, plus the corresponding SRT file. That specific combination makes captioning and subsequent repurposing completely painless for them. And finally, if you are using a host that accepts transcripts, upload the DOCX there. If your host prefers SRT, you should use the subtitle file instead. Having both of those file types available is honestly the most future-proof approach you can take right now. So, just to recap the literal checklist I go through every single time an episode is finished, here is the short version. First, export the final MP3 at a sensible bitrate and save it securely in that dedicated episode-specific folder. Second, export the transcript DOCX, making sure to include speaker labels and timecodes if you utilize them. Third, export that crucial SRT subtitle file for any platforms that specifically ask for it. Fourth, do a very quick quality pass on the MP3, focusing only on those transitions and the relative music levels. Fifth, upload the MP3 and the transcript SSRT if needed manually to your podcast host for final metadata input and show notes entry. And finally, step 6 is dropping the long file into Vizard to auto-generate social clips, schedule them, and populate your content calendar automatically. If you are just starting out and feeling overwhelmed by this whole tech stack, just do the minimal things well. Focus on a clean MP3, a basic transcript, and creating just 1 or 2 short social clips for the first few episodes. But if you are serious about scaling your content output without completely burning yourself out in the process, you must automate the clip generation and scheduling using something like Vizard. That automation frees up your precious time to focus on actual interviews, generating new content ideas, and connecting with humans instead of wrestling with tech. If you want to test this exact flow yourself, I have conveniently put some helpful resources in the description below this video. That includes a link to Vizard's free trial and a quick starter checklist you can copy directly into your own episode folder template. I'm not giving you any hype here. These are genuinely the tools I personally use every week to turn recorded episodes into consistent social content and tidy podcast uploads. All right, now go finish editing that episode and then make sure you turn it into 5 pieces of great content instead of just 1. That, my friends, is where the real win in modern content creation actually lies. I will see you all in the next video or tutorial.